Okay, so I have found something here as I was cleaning scrap metal out from underneath the collapsed pine trees. This thing was on a pine tree. It is like nothing else you've probably ever seen in your life. Same goes for me. But I used to be right into mushrooms and mycology, and there's something called smut that is sort of fungi related. Now, if you look up smut on the internet, fungi related smut, not the other one, you will most likely come across corn smut. And another one that's a problem in this country that my father knows about and has seen is wheat smut, and another one is ryegrass smut. I've actually got some ryegrass smut in an envelope, and that's good at killing sheep. Basically, they get ryegrass staggers, they walk around like friggin' nut jobs, and then they just die. And it's closely related to ergot, and I think ergot is like some form of wheat smut, basically. And, they get that and they process it with chemicals and they make LSD out of it, and that's where your LSD comes from. There are other smuts that are almost never talked about on the internet, but you may find out about them in university libraries. I did find out about him on the internet from a bloke who did have a website years ago. He's originally from Finland. He married a Russian girl and he now lives in America. And there's one that he comes across about every 6 months. He gets phone calls or emails about it and photographs. And these are exceedingly rare. If a bloke who's a damn near professor of mycology, I think he is, only gets photographs sent to him twice a year of these things. These are some of the bizarrest things that are assumed to be animals of a kind. These are often about a foot and a half long, like, 18, 15 inches long and maybe 9 inches wide. They will move up to 1.5 meters a day. They look like a jelly-like substance, and you can see veins through the jelly. I shit you not, and these things move 1.5 meters a day, usually over mulch or leaf litter of some kind. They will continue to move all around your yard as time goes on over several weeks, at which point they stop moving and then change colour and then sprout mushrooms at the top of them. No crap. Back in the 1950s, when after Roswell and all that, people used to see lights at night, which could have been some old geezer ploughing his paddock or at night or whatever. People spotlight shooting or shooting stuff. Who knows? They saw lights at night. The next morning they would come out to very large versions of these smut. I'm talking ones that are 2 foot wide and 5 foot long, that were clear with the veins, and some of them, if you poked them with a stick, they would jiggle. They would like vibrate, shake. They'd put 2 and 2 together and go, lights last night, veins on something that every time you poke it with a stick it jiggles. I can see the veins through it, and they'd bring the cops up and report aliens, and the cops would go around and have a good gaze and go, that's interesting. So has it done anything other than jiggle? And they'd poke it with a stick a couple of times. Oh, look, it moves, whoopee-doo. And that's all it'd amount to. But people assumed they were alien life. Indeed, they were just very large smut. I think this is the only thing I can put my finger on, is it could be something along these lines. When I first saw this, it was a cocoon, I thought, because I get a lot of cocoons around here. And this one looked like one that the whatever inside, caterpillar, butterfly thing, might have died and gone rotten. because it looked like just a cocoon that had sort of gone purplish. And then I accidentally broke it open as I was dragging a bit of sheet metal over that branch. And inside it was jellified with veins, as you will see. This is tiny. It's only about, what would it be, 3/4 of an inch long, maybe, by probably 1/2 an inch wide. It's rather small. You'll see an ant walking along there, which is only a sugar ant. You'll see my finger next to it. Funnily enough, it didn't last very long. It decomposed rather quickly to just a purple slops, which then went black the next day. And if you look down in the left-hand corner, you'll see like these, it's almost like a little clear skin with a couple of all these little black hairs hanging up. You just see it for a bit in the bottom left-hand corner. That coating is essentially still left there while the rest of it's dead, and that's basically all underneath the bottom of this thing. I don't think this thing was moving around. I really don't know what it is. And a miniature version of these exceedingly rare smut with veins in it is all I can put it down to, because you will also notice little yellow things around the outside that almost look like, you know, pins with a large end. You know, basically what I think they look like is small mushroom stalks with a very small cap, like very skinny, tall mushroom stalks with a little cap, and they're yellow, and you'll see those also. This may have been a smut that's moved around, stopped, and it was just starting to sprout out all its mushrooms, but it was going from the edge in towards the middle. I really don't know what the hell this is. If you've got any clue, I'd appreciate your comments. If you've seen anything else like this, this was on a cypress pine that was collapsed and has been dead for quite a number of years. And essentially, that's about the best I could put it to. It would be some sort of fungi. There was no sign of any actual animal of any sort, of half-formed butterfly, anything like that inside it. It is bizarre beyond belief. But with the veins there, it makes me think it's some sort of living thing, and the fact that after it bursted, it decomposed within a few hours. Anyway, take a look. It's the weirdest thing you'll see all week, maybe all month. I don't know what this is. It looked like a dried out cocoon. And I touched it, and it was like touching a snail that someone had stood on. And these little bits around the side here. It had a reasonably, well, the top of it was sort of a purple colour, but I didn't take much notice. Trying to zoom here without shaking the camera. No, seriously, like this thing, woo. It's got veins and all in it. It's only small. You might have seen the ant walking past it before. That was like a sugar ant. Give you an idea. That's my left index finger. You know, this thing's probably only 3/4 of an inch long. Try and zoom out again. This may indeed be smut, which is sort of like fungi, but sort of like not. It's like a, yeah. There's a certain type of smut that can actually move about 1.5 meters a day. And most smut can't, but when I see all the veins and all that, a lot of people think smut is an animal, and the way this has got all the veins and it was squishy and all that, it's wet as anything. I
Can't be sure what it is, but it may be smut because it sort of has all the hallmarks of it. Smut's quite rare, unless you're talking about corn smut, which is pretty common in the States, and especially common in Mexico because they deliberately infect their crops with it because of the high price you get for it. Every time I put something up, everybody seems to know more about what it is than I do, so especially if I've never seen it before. So I thought I'd ask you guys if you know what it is, if you're any good with fungi or smut or whatever. I mean, this is on a cypress pine tree, just sitting on the bark.